feeling great. Not a worry in sight and I can't complain. Don't rain on my parade. Celebration over here, all the clouds go away. About time for us to shine. I don't know about y'all, but I need all of mine. Till then, just unwind. Ain't nothing going on, but it's good all the time. Say, hopped out the bed and turned my swag on. Looked in the mirror like, damn, you the one. Loving what I'm seeing, the glow, I'm beaming. Alive while thriving, the feeling undefeated. Can't take now and living this swell. Anybody trying to interfere, oh well. Ain't no stop but it's now or never. Me and mine just fine, no matter the weather. So feeling good, feeling great. Not a worry in sight and I can't complain. Don't rain on my parade. Celebration over here, all the clouds go away. About time for us to shine. I don't know about y'all, but I need all of mine. Till then, just unwind. Ain't nothing going on, but it's good all the time.
Okay.
Locked in, this guy playing, I ain't moving off whim. Full steam ahead, ain't no sign of stopping. Always give my all everywhere that I've been. Million ways to get it, trying to say I'm locked in. Had to cut you off, you was talking toxic. Now we ain't fam, we ain't gang, we not friends. Where was you when we was trying to get up off the bench? Toast to the ones who held me down, we locked in. The darker times with smiles was unauthorized. Could feel the reaper around me periodically crossing lines. Wounds been cauterized with the scar tissue apparent. Probably why my connection with my inner circle so precious, they been there. When there wasn't shit there, when I couldn't think straight, they sent my mind elsewhere. Yeah, we go through pain, it's hard not to dwell there. It always means the world to know somebody else still cares. That's why I'm laughing louder and grinning wider than ever. We don't get the moment back, pour me up the amaretto. Closet so big, you talking and you hearing echo. Regardless what I'm rocking, emotions on my apparel. Locked in, this guy playing, I ain't moving off whim. Full steam ahead, ain't no sign of stopping. Always give my all everywhere that I've been. Million ways to get it, trying to say I'm locked in. Had to cut you off, you was talking toxic. Now we ain't fam, we ain't gang, we not friends. Where was you when we was trying to get up off the bench? Toast to the ones who held me down, we ain't got the gravitas for mine to go kamikaze. So many chains on, they thinking it's Amistad. Ice cream color coupe, scoop your boo like Haagen-Dazs. Ain't nothing to a boss, I'm moving so nonchalant. Still it's the simple things that matter the most. Catalyst to catapult me out of my lows, out of the sea of indecision that sit on my soul, turning me to sides of myself that I didn't know. Ooh. Now tell me what's the point of it all? Did you affect any change? Did you champion the cause? I see the social ladder, I'm just trying to even the odds. Pull up with the fam while we reach for the stars. I'm locked in, this guy playing, I ain't moving off whim. Full steam ahead, ain't no sign of stopping. Always give my all everywhere that I've been. Million ways to get it, trying to say I'm locked in. Had to cut you off, you was talking toxic. Now we ain't fam, we ain't gang, we not friends. Where was you when we was trying to get up off the bench? Toast to the ones who held me down, we locked in.
unwind. Ain't nothing going on but a good old time. Say, hopped out the bed and turned my swag on. Looked in the mirror like, damn, you the one. Loving what I'm seeing, the glow, I'm beaming. Alive while thriving, the feeling undefeated. Can't take near and living this swell. Anybody trying to interfere, oh well. Ain't no stop but it's now or never. Me and mine just fine, no matter the weather. So feeling good, feeling great. Not a worry in sight and I can't complain. Don't rain on my parade. Celebration over here, all the clouds go away. About time for us to shine. I don't know about y'all, but I need all of mine. Till then, just unwind. Ain't nothing going on but a good old time. Feeling good, feeling great. Not a worry in sight and I can't complain. Don't rain on my parade. Celebration over here, all the clouds go away. About time for us to shine. I don't know about y'all, but I need all of mine. Till then, just unwind. Ain't nothing going on but a good old time.
I need to celebrate every time I wake up. You know the vibes, I ain't even gotta say much. I was down back then, but I stay up. Gotta live it up in the moment, could you blame us? I could fill a brick truck up with blessings. I could make your work ethic under pressure. They try to tell me I'm celebrating excessive, but I can't help it, just let me be selfish. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I feel good, I feel good, I feel great, look. Dark clouds can't shade my day. I don't trip, they'll never see me lacking. Whoa, ain't nobody gonna kill my smile. I'm good, I'm great, I'm happy. Let's talk about it every day, feel like a payday. Ching ching, in every way I feel like the champ. Ding ding, never cared about whatever he say or she think. It's only Tuesday and I already got a 3-peat. I remember when nobody used to see me. Now look at me, mom, I'm on the TV. Everything popping now like it's 3D. How can I not celebrate when these blessings on me? I need to celebrate every time I wake up. You know the vibes, I ain't even gotta say much. I was down back then, but I stay up. Gotta live it up in the moment, could you blame us? I could fill a brick truck up with blessings. I could make your work ethic under pressure. They try to tell me I'm celebrating excessive, but I can't help it, just let me be selfish. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I feel good, I feel good, I feel great. Way I'm feeling, I can run a 4-2. Still got gas in the prime, who knew? Doing better this year than I did in Deuce Deuce. Haters going out sad, who cares? Boo hoo, whoa. Aura, owner, ultralight beam. I put on my favorite sneakers, I'm too clean. Feel like a top 5 dream. Feel like I found a hundo in the jeans. Days like this, I can touch the sky. My life's been good, let me testify. All that negativity been nullified. I got blessings coming in a large supply. Say what? I need to celebrate every time I wake up. You know the vibes, I ain't even gotta say much. I was down back then, but I stay up. Gotta live it up in the moment, could you blame us? I could fill a brick truck up with blessings. I could make your work ethic under pressure. They try to tell me I'm celebrating excessive, but I can't help it, just let me be selfish. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I feel good, I feel good, I feel great. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I feel good, I feel good, I feel great.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the 9-Figure Secrets training. I know I'm not Brandon, but I wanted to just jump in here really quick because Brandon's getting ready here in the studio. He's getting mic'd up. My name's Jeremy Gabbert. I'm Executive Vice President of Marketing and Revenue with Cardone Ventures. And I wanted to jump in here really quick because I already saw some questions in the chat over here on YouTube, just to kind of set the stage a little bit. So first off, thank you for being here. We have hundreds of you already joined in. We're going to have a lot more of you joining in here shortly from all around the world, all business owners, all looking to make sure that they build and scale their business the right way. And I'm really excited for today because this is the first time that we've ever done this presentation. Obviously, you guys know Brandon's new book, 9-Figure Mindset. This is the reason why we're doing this training. So if you haven't already got your order or your pre-order, I think the majority of you guys see me in 4K, then it might be a little choppy. But yeah, it says it's frozen, guys. Guys, just hang tight. I think we have a little bit of some technical difficulties. So I'm just going to, okay, it says it's better now. Maybe we broke the internet, okay? Maybe we broke the internet already with 9-Figure Mindset. So if you guys can see me and you can hear me clear, please put it in the chat here. Spencer says yes. Boom, great. Want to make sure the antenna is great on my mic. Okay, great. So clear. All right. So if you guys didn't hear me, we're here for the first time ever for 9-Figure Mindset. Okay, the chat's going great, so I appreciate you. Maybe it was my mic. Maybe it was me. But if you haven't, go to 9figuremindset.com and pre-order. I know there was a question coming in as when you guys are actually getting your pre-order. It'll be next week. So super excited for that. Today, Brandon's getting ready to join us. I wanted to come on here, so I had the technical problems, not him, so you guys can make fun of me and not Brandon. But I wanted to come on here really quick because today is something special. This is something that's been really like 18 months in the making, writing this book. Brandon's been heads down writing the book. Obviously, it's probably been a couple decades because he didn't want to publish this book. And there's going to be some other cool things along with this book that you guys are going to find out. But he didn't want to do it until he could actually walk the walk and talk the talk. And if you guys know his story, he's going to talk about it today. But he did, exit his last company at $151 million, 77 times EBITDA. If you guys know what that is, like 77 times is unheard of. It's still probably one of the largest valuations ever. And so he's going to talk about where he was able to do it, what the successes he went through, what are the mistakes that he made, the blueprint to actually how he got there. And so you guys are going to get a lot of great golden nuggets today. So really excited for that, really excited for you guys to see the book, but really excited for this training. The second thing is being in proximity. Being able to, there's a couple more comments that came in that said no sound. If you guys can still hear me, I just want a couple comments in the chat that said we're great. But the second thing is being in proximity. I know I've been around a lot of great people, a lot of great coaches, gurus, influencers, mentors, everybody. And what I really liked about Brandon was that he had this just depth of knowledge, but he also had this depth of connections. It was just last week that we were in New York City. We were actually at the New York Stock Exchange. We had an interview there on the floor about the book. And then we also had just some interviews. And we didn't stumble into this one, but we thought this meeting was going to be an hour, and it ended up being about 5.5 hours. We literally just sat down at this table, couldn't get enough of this because we started just masterminding. We started just talking. And we met with this billionaire, and it was just so incredible, the information. And in that 5 hours, what we had actually accomplished, it felt like we actually cut 3 years off of our learning curve just because he was already there. He's done that. He shared his path for this. And so now we know not only how to do something, but we know also what to expect, because those are the two most important things when you're looking at something is you know what to do and you know how to do it, but then you know what to expect, because if you have those three things, it literally removes the trial and error from all of these things. So that's what he's going to be talking about today. He's got some strategies, he's got some stories, and he's also got some great tactics to be able to show you. And we have some cool things that we're going to bring on from a few people that are worth, we're probably responsible for a couple $1 trillion in the marketplace. and it's just going to be a preview of what's coming. So if you guys are fired up, let me see in the chat. I'm really curious if you can just put a yes or no in here. If you're a business owner, put yes, and if you're not a business owner, hit no, because I was looking at the stats before I came on here, and it was like 95% of everybody that was registered for this was a business owner. Yeah, you see the chat growing up. And 75% of you were brand new to our community. You guys just said, I want this book. I want to have a 9-figure mindset. This is the first time that I've actually even kind of I guess came into the community. So yeah, look at all these business owners. I see you, Felisa. I see you, Sarah. I see you, Catherine, Sam, Gail, Trenda. Yeah, it's great. Quality Air of Houston, Texas. Obviously, great name. You're a business owner, so it's really cool. And if this is your first time getting to hear Brandon speak, give me a 10x in the chat, because I'm really curious on that as well. Because when I was looking at the data, like I said, it was a lot of new people. So a lot of business owners coming in, boat tours in Sarasota, Florida. Wow. So a lot of you are brand new. Well, you're in for a treat. So if you guys can just let me know, BD, whenever he's coming in. I know he's getting mic'd up. So I got a little surprise for you. And I'm gonna steal Brandon's thunder a little bit because he's not here. But okay, Brandon's gonna be here in 2 minutes. I'm gonna give you a surprise. We have a special gift for those of you that are on here live. There's hundreds of you already here live that stay to the end. And it's going to be something pretty cool. So Brandon will probably mention it, but I just wanted to kind of steal his thunder because he's late and has to leave me here. But just kidding. I see Brandon right here. So without further ado, I want to get the man of the hour here on stage because I know he's super excited to do this presentation with you. So please help me welcome to the stage, Mr. You mic'd up?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Mr. Brandon Dawson. Hey.
Thank you, buddy. All right, everybody. Great to see you.
75% right here, so we can see the chat over here.
Yeah.
75% are brand new. So if you're putting a 10x in there, they've never heard of you before.
Awesome. Let me see that. I know he already did it. I heard him when I walked in. My buddy Ruben. Let's go, Ruben. All right, put a 10x if this is your first event. I want to see it. Let's see. 10x, 10x, 10x. Let's go. That's awesome. All right, well, this is the first time we've ever done this because this is the first book I've ever written. Look, I've been working on this book for 12 years now. So I'm very proud of what I accomplished in order to allow me to have the confidence to write this book. A few things I want to share with you because I think on the journey, the reason this book is mindset, 9-figure mindset, is because I had to have that mindset before I got to 9 figures. And the other thing that's important is to understand that using your mind, you have to define what your goals are. And I didn't understand this my first time around. I was so busy just doing and doing and doing. And look, I was a high school graduate, voted least likely to succeed out of a little town in Oregon. I shouldn't be here today by all the statistics measures. And the one thing I had that I would not let somebody take away from me is I had this deep innate desire to be successful and to get out of the little town I was in. Now, I didn't know exactly how to do it. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I used to dream about, when I was sitting on the tractor in the walnut orchard, I used to sit and dream about going to New York or going to some big city and going into the tall buildings and doing something big, buying something or running something. And when I'd share this information with my friends, they'd be like, Dawson, just settle in, man. You're going to stay in Corvallis, Oregon. You're going to get a job at Les Schwab or, you know, at the restaurant. You're going to be a waiter. Like the people that knew me when I was a kid didn't think the things I was telling them that I was dreaming about were even close to being accessible to me. And I think this is the most important thing is you have to be in charge of you. It's a gift we all have. We get the power to determine and decide who we are going to be. And so I didn't quite understand how to manifest that life other than through just working my ass off and trying to be number one in everything that I did. And so I became a outside sales rep at 19, traveled 11 states in the Southeast. That was awesome. I got out of Oregon and became a medical device outside sales rep. And that was awesome. It's like 11 states in the South, company car, being number one, pushing and learning and challenging myself. I couldn't even figure out how to like use an atlas when I first got there, okay? So like I know what my limitations were. I was a 2.4 GPA. I sucked at math. I sucked at reading. So for me to take an atlas to get myself all over all these states and make the right turns and show up at the right time and get to the right street addresses, that by itself was a massive challenge for me. There was no GPS back then. After a couple years, I could print them off with MapQuest, but that was the best, right? So I still had to learn to figure everything out. And that was such a great experience for me that by 26 or 27, I was making over six figures, or I was making 150 grand a year. And I had been doing that since I was 22 years old. So the confidence to be able to walk away from that job when I realized that all my bosses were making the same money I was making and I was being told I shouldn't expect to make more, that was my cue to step out the door. And what I did is I decided I wanted to buy businesses. And how did I know that? Because I was selling to customers that were shutting their businesses down at retirement because there was no buyers. So I was like, why don't I become the first buyer? Problem was I was 26, 27 years old. I had never bought a business before, and I wasn't really backable because no one with money knew me. So I had to go convince business owners to sell to me even though I didn't have any money. That started my journey, and that journey took me through just had to press. Like I wasn't like, oh, mindset. I'm going to learn how to law of attraction. I'm going to manifest none of that. It was just like survival. I had 2 kids, 2 babies, a wife. I had quit a great job, making a lot of money, and now my ass was 100% in the sling. I'm either going to make it or I'm going to break it. And the last thing I wanted to do was be the person they said I was going to be when I was in high school. I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be the person that person back then sitting on the tractor at the orchard dreaming about doing amazing things in the future. I wanted to be that person. That's all I could think about is don't fail, don't fail, don't fail. Push, 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 push. I got my first business owner to agree to sell to me. Then I got more to agree to sell to me. And then I bought a business that was on the Alberta Stock Exchange in Canada. I didn't even know what that meant, but it was a $3 million business. I ended up buying half the business by signing to buy the stock from that guy. And he's like, by the way, you're the public company CEO now in Alberta, Canada. You have to go to Calgary and do presentations to investors. And I'm like, I didn't know nothing about any of that. But guess what? All of a sudden, I'm the CEO at 27, 28 years old of a Alberta, Canada public company where I had to go into tall buildings and make investor presentations and talk to business analysts. And all of a sudden, I'm doing dozens of financial transactions where I'm buying businesses, and all of a sudden, I'm raising my first million and being laughed out of every room for a year on 100 presentations, and then on the 101st, getting my first $1 million. All of a sudden, I've got hundreds of millions of dollars wanting to sell to me of businesses. All of a sudden, this group in Dallas, Texas say, hey, we have to take you to New York to raise some real money. All of a sudden, at 28 years old, I'm on the 88th floor of the World Trade Center, signing a deal for $18 million from one of the most prestigious financial institutions in the world. All of a sudden, this little kid from Corvallis who's least likely to succeed, who had all these dreams, all of a sudden, you guys have that picture? Yep. All of a sudden, here I am, 29 years old, ringing the opening bell of the American Stock Exchange. If you would have met me at that point in time, I would have believed that I could do no wrong. See, you have to understand, I quit my sales job with 2 little babies, making 150 grand a year. I moved into a little tiny home and sold everything I have to start over in 1990. I quit my job December 15th, 1995. I moved my family. How law of attraction actually works. And in the process of buying businesses and trying to get bigger and trying to do more and trying to do all this stuff, in the process of doing that, I got lost in the mechanics. I was so busy being busy. And then all of a sudden, my investors lost confidence in some of my decisions. And then all of a sudden, my investors found out that some of the programs I built within my company made the company more valuable faster than waiting longer. And they called me up at the peak of my career in May of 2001. I was at the absolute, if you met me in May of 2001, you would have said, this 31-year-old kid this 31, 32-year-old. See the little kid down there? You know, that right there, this picture that you're seeing, that was me at 21 years old, making $150,000 a year running an inside sales team of 25 people. Look at how serious I looked back then. That's my beautiful mother behind me in the picture. This was me at 22. At 29, now go to the bell. At 29, this is what I had been able to do. So at 32, you would have thought, this guy can do anything. I would have thought I could do anything. I was at the absolute peak of my career in May of 2001, and I was fired from my job, and they sold my business by February of 2002. And I didn't understand certain things. I didn't understand about leadership. I didn't understand about capital structures, debt stacks. I didn't understand about preferred returns over common interests. I didn't understand so many things that I didn't know until all of a sudden it went away. And then instead of saying, I should have done better, I was so mad that for 18 months, all I talked about was what these people did to me. What these people did to me. Someone's saying that I'm intermittent. Is it my mic?
You're good. No, you're good.
Okay. So, Brian H. says he can't follow. Missing the value of the event. What's going on here, guys? How come they can't hear me? I want to make sure. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear me. It's the internet, they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking into it. So you're good right now.
All right. So look, I had to start over. And unfortunately, I was being a drainer for about 18 months. But I found a mentor who really got my thinking correct. He literally told me what I needed to do in order to intentionally create the world I wanted. And I talk about this. In my book. I explain exactly how this intervention happened. Exactly what my mentor did to teach me how to establish the right type of thinking so my actions could follow my thoughts, and my thoughts were relative to the intention of what I wanted to create. It's so important to understand something I did not know. See, I was accidentally creating. I was unintentionally, unconsciously creating through just pure desire and push until I pushed so far and so hard that things I didn't even know I should know about caught up to me. And I had this opportunity to do a big reset. And my mentor taught me how to do that, Hector Lamarck. The process of what he taught me and what I did, I break it down in the book because it's the single most important gift that I was ever given. And it will be the most important gift I can ever give. You see, we as human beings have the ability to create and intentionally create. Law of attraction is a real thing, but it starts with law of intention, then law of action, then you attract it. You don't attract it by hoping or wishing. You have to take massive action. That's why I partnered with Grant Cardone, because despite the success I had, even at the end of this story, the beginning of the new chapter of my life is even bigger. Because one thing I learned about guilt by association. I will be like those I'm spending my time around. I will be known based on who I spend my time around. People will see me through a lens based on who I'm spending my time with. And so this story in the book literally tells you how I created, manifested, orchestrated the new me. And it walks through the building of my new company that I intentionally created. I took a bottle of wine and 2 cigars and sat on my patio for about 4 hours. And I write down what I did well and where I made mistakes and what I needed to do. And then I realized if I fix that for me, I can help thousands of business owners or millions of business owners do the same thing. So I started that business in 2004 called Odyssey Group. And I built that business helping independent business owners grow and scale and create massive value, while I grew and scaled, innovating how to start a business and grow it without anybody else's money. And I built that business as the prototype for the businesses that we help today. And my mentor told me, I started doing research in 2009, 10, and 11. I talk about this in the book because I wanted to do what I was building at Odyssey for thousands of businesses. And one of my mentors said, if you go and try to do it in all these other industries and you screw it up, people won't believe you. So he said, what you need to do is you need to complete the one you're doing and show that you can create massive value. I'm not just talking about a little bit of value. I'm talking about revolutionizing how value is created in business. You know, the small to mid-sized business space is $12 trillion. It employs 67% of the U.S. workforce. It's got 31 million business owners doing it. And 97% of those business owners will fail every 10 years, and 2/3 will fail in the first 5, including the ones that get big. I knew that if I could figure out how to do it for me, and if I could help hundreds of other business owners do it for them, I had a business system that I could change the world in small business. So my mentor told me, and I learned to listen to my mentors because, see, when I identified my strengths and my weaknesses in my first business, I was a horrible leader. I was horrible at understanding finances and how money works. I was horrible at operations. I was horrible at the details. So I had to learn to become an expert. I had to go find mentors. John Maxwell for leadership, Jim Collins and Michael Gabbert for operations and business efficiency, Sharon Lechter for mindset, business efficiency, how money works, Robert Anthony for reprogramming, how to program my mind. All these people that were authors, I had to take their bodies of work, push them together to create one operating system that would allow me to take my weaknesses, turn them into strengths. And Grant talks about assets become liabilities, liabilities can be converted to assets. This is the exact process that I follow, and I detail it in my book. Now fast forward, by 2013, all those people that I was using their work and reading their books and talking about them, they all, one way or another, became friends, became personal mentors, or people that I actually worked in their businesses with, helping them. Talk about manifestation. Talk about intention and action creating results. Talk about law of attraction. You fixate so much on how somebody like a John Maxwell can impact your life and teach you how to become a great leader, even though he doesn't know you. And to be able to call him a mentor, and today, a friend and a business partner. To be able to evolve those relationships because you fixate so much on the impact that they could deliver to your life that when you meet them and you get to explain that to them, they want to be around you. See, that's how you draw mentors to go from not knowing you to knowing you. I explain all this in my book because it's my intention with this book to help you accomplish whatever goals, whatever ambitions, whatever creation that you want to have. I just use me as a living, breathing example because I was able to build that business and take great advice. And by 2016, I sold that business for 77 times EBITDA. In fact, here's an announcement that went out. Vancouver Audigy sells for $151 million. And I got to share $38 million of that money with my customers. I didn't have to give it to investors because I never used anybody else's money. I was able to give it to the people that helped me build my business, the benefactors. And their businesses were 3.5 to 15 times their peer group in their industry. We created more millionaires and multi-millionaires in the hearing care space that ever existed before. Those are facts. And I gave $15 million to my employees. By the time I sold, I had 198 employees servicing 250 business owners with 1,000 locations. That group of people outperformed the industry 3.5 to 15 times. So the public company that bought us said, hey, we're going to buy you because, and trust me, how I sold is a business case in itself. It's the actual way we structure businesses today, using the same methodology I used to put my business up for sale, run a very strong process, had 8 targeted buyers, and had 8 bidders. This is the precision in which, if you do things in the right sequence, in the right order, with the right mindset, understanding what you want that future to look like, you too can do all of it. And in the book, I talk exactly about how to set yourself up for that. But that $1 billion business bought me, and one of my mentors said, you know, Brandon, they paid so much money for your business, and it was awesome that you shared all that money with your employees and with your customers. But now, if you're ever going to build another business, which he knew, I had been doing research, I had hundreds of industries I was going to go to, and that research, I was ready to do it. He said, but the buyer, if that buyer buys you and they stumble and they fail, after paying that much money for you and getting ridiculed by their competitors, you'll never sell another business for that kind of money. You'll damage your future reputation. See, having the right kind of mentors, the people who have the wisdom, the perspective, the vision, that's the thing that allows you to accelerate and win. So you know what I did is I committed to 5 years of working with that buyer, despite how excited I was to go out and create this new business. And in 36 months, you guys want to put the chart up so they can see it? Yep. In 36 months, we took a $1 billion business trading for 3 years before they announced they were buying me at $17 or $18 a share. And we grew it to $92 within 36 months. We created $3.5 billion of extra value. Now, you can see my last day on the job. I think if you're looking at the top corner of my last day of July of 21, you'll see the stock within 6 months had broke back down and lost half its value. This is an example of what happens when new people come in and try to change everything because they're smarter than you. There's so many lessons right here about how to create value and how to destroy it. And so the destroying part is a whole nother thesis that when you come to our programs, I talk about that. But the bottom line here is we took $1 billion business and deployed in 8 countries what we had been doing here. So I know everything we had built as the system worked in multiple countries, and we took a business to $4.5 billion. I knew I was ready. So I told my wife in 2018, I'm ready. I'm ready. Now, there was a couple years where I thought I might give up again. There was a couple years where now all of a sudden I'm rich. I got $100 million. For my whole life, I just want to tell you guys, my whole life I had been grinding since I was a little kid. Grind. And the fact that I actually did it, I was like, I couldn't. It took me a while because I was working so hard for the company that bought me. It actually took me a little while to actually recognize I had done it. Then I had to ask myself the question, do I really have what it takes to keep going? Do I want to pursue this dream I had had my whole life, or have I arrived? And that window I talk about in my book, it actually put me in a state of sadness and depression that was beyond anything that had happened to me before, because I went back to that moment of time when I lost my job, and all those people that from Corvallis, Oregon were like, we knew you couldn't do it. We knew you'd screwed up. We knew you were a failure. I was scared that what if I was the guy that took all my money, went at it again and then lost it? Then everything they would have said about me was true. And I went through this weird period of time. And that's when my wife said, you need to read the 10X rule. And I'm like, who's that? She says, Grant Cardone. And I'm like, who's Grant Cardone? And she says, she's been reading the Elena Cardone, and I need to see it. She shows me this YouTube. Can they see that picture? Yeah. This is my business partner. Perfect. She tells me, you got to beat this Grant Cardone guy. Maybe we could go build our business with him. He's got the sales and marketing company. He's raising money with real estate. And she shows me this video of him on YouTube, and he's got his hat on sideways, and he's running in front of his airplane with a cannon gun or something. Hey, Grant Cardone here, hit the link. And I looked at him and I said, are you crazy? Are you a lunatic? You see, I was still thinking too small. This is why I kept pushing off writing my book. Can I tell you that when all of a sudden in 2008, 9, 10, when the world was melting down, I started my book in 2009 because we were killing it. I was Inc. 500, Inc. 5000, fastest growing this, fastest growing that. 2-time entrepreneur, Ernst & Young, winner of the year. Boom, 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 boom. I was on a roll, but I could not get my book out. And the book was actually titled back then, Change Your Mind, Change Your Business. And 80% of the manuscript was written. But there's this little thing inside of me that kept saying, you haven't done it yet. You haven't done it yet. You haven't finished it yet. You haven't done it yet. Then I sell for 77 times EBITDA. I pull my manuscript out and I'm like, oh boy, here I go. And there's a little thing inside of me that says, you hadn't done it yet. You hadn't done it yet. You haven't proven it yet. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep that on the sideline, and I start getting involved. I talk about how I approached Grant. It was my wife's idea, and we went in there. We went to GrowthCon, and how we pitched it and promoted it, and here we are 4 years later. Imagine a world And in my book, I talk about the lessons. See, having my beautiful wife who had my back, who was supporting me, pushing me. Not giving in to my fears, not being lazy, but pushing me. I talk about that moment. Her idea of looking at Grant and Elena, her idea of going out there. 48 months ago, or 50 months ago, 4 years ago, we did our first anything ever with Grant. It was just me and my wife and one other person who had been with me for years as a contractor. I just want you to think about the power of being able to be intentional about what you're going to do and taking action. This is what I love about my business partner. And I read it in the 10X rule, and I knew he knew. And then I started reading all his books, and they're just so on point that we had to go see him. We had to meet him. We had to at least present. There was 5 criteria, and I cover them in my book, that if he met those 5 criteria when we saw them at the GrowthCon in 2019, I was going to approach him about partnering. He didn't know who we were. I specifically talk about how we approach that. So there's so many cues in this book and clues on how to present yourself, how to open the door, how to say and do the right things, because the more intentional you are, the more result you want to understand. Exactly understanding the intentionality and the action and the targets is so critically important. But we go from that meeting and seeing him for the first time in 2019. Think about it, 2019 was 4 years ago. 4 years ago from the first time we ever met him. Today we have a business that this year, from startup with no deployed capital, no debt, no nothing, just me, my wife, and the one other person and Grant coming together with Elena and saying, we're going to do this. From pure startup, we're going to do 135 to 140 million in revenue in 2023. We did 83 million in revenue last year. We've built a business that's valued over $500 million, because I have our businesses valued every June of every year. This is what happens when you establish a mindset. You take the appropriate action to a stated objective or result. John Maxwell says, devoid of law of picture, everyone gets lost. I want to show you a cool picture, because show them me back on the New York Stock Exchange. Here I am. No, you just had it. That's the last, right there. I was just there last week doing an interview on the floor. It should leave a clue for anybody watching this as to where we're going. 9-figure mindset. You know why I finished the book? Because one of my most loving mentors, dear friend, mentor, business partner, John Maxwell, said to me, Brandon, if you don't put your 9-figure mindset book out, people won't understand how you got there when you put your 10-figure mindset book out. Because I'm going to $1 billion, and I'm documenting it every single week, every single day, every single minute. What we said we were going to do before we did it, what we're doing every single month. Every single time I do a 360 class twice a month, I say, here's where we're at, here's where we're going, starting the first class we ever did in June of 19. And it follows along my exact structure within the breakpoints. How would you like to learn to so clearly predict your future? That law of picture. That you literally can design your life personally, professionally, financially by picking the right mentors, taking the right actions, doing the right legal, moral, ethical, and compliant. Otherwise, you're going to have a short business cycle. bringing people along with you with such clarity they understand what's in it with them and with you, and achieving a stated objective or result. Look, my business partner, he's raised more crowdfunding dollars than any person on the planet. He just went over $1.3 billion. Buying $4.5 billion of unbelievable assets that a guy like me and people like you would never get to be participating in. When you have somebody that thinks so big that you can see yourself inside their bubble, then everyone moves and fortifies bigger, better, faster, more valuably. And here's the thing. It's your responsibility to blow your bubble up. You have to find a way to do it. See, leadership starts with me leadership. And once I am able to be an example, it goes to we leadership. Now, you help develop other people around you. Law of influence, John talks about it. You develop other people around you, and then they become an example, but people knew that you helped them do it. So you're duplicating, you're multiplying through others. And then when you have enough people that are on the same page as you, it becomes us leadership. I talk about exactly how to do that. The definition of leadership is just making other people's success easy. So if you're going to define yourself as a leader, then make a commitment to make other people's success easy. And this is why we partnered with Grant and Elena. I've never met anybody other than myself that literally documented everything they say, everything they do, how they did it, how they broke through, what the results were than that man and that lady. And they share it with everyone. Go to the real estate class, we'll teach you everything. Go to the sales and training class, I'll teach you everything. Like, just go and I'll give it to you. You can go home and do it yourself, or you can do it with us, or we'll do it for you. So simple, provided you actually know how to do it. Now, what's the opportunity? Like, what was the big opportunity when I was sitting here thinking about I could build a business to help so many business owners? What was the big opportunity? Look, here's the statistics. It's simple. There's 31.5 million small to mid-sized business owners in the United States. 31.5 million businesses under $100 million. 93% of those businesses are family involved. 2/3 of those businesses will fail in the first 5 years. 97% fail every 10 years. And that's usually the bigger ones. The problem I wanted to solve was this problem. And it's a multi-trillion-dollar space. It's a $12 trillion space. And I thought, well, if I could build something that solved for that, and I save businesses, then by definition, if I save businesses and 93% are family involved, I'm saving families. And if I'm saving families, I'm saving communities. You see, the picture is bigger. It's not about me. It's not about my team. It's about families. It's about communities. And when you create this huge picture, it creates a bubble that people can come inside. And I picked a partner that's bubble is so big, he wants to touch 8 billion people. Now, people can say, oh, he's crazy. But you know what? His bubble's so big, I can make my bubble inside of it because I want to create 1 million 10x business owners. That we have trillions of dollars of value creation between all of us. Impacting each other's lives, improving each other's lives, loving each other, caring for each other, looking after each other, protecting each other. You see, it's so big. It's so big that anybody can fit inside. Some of you are at home right now and you're just trying to get to $1 million. You're trying to get to $3 million. You're trying to get to $5 million. You're trying to get to 10. You're trying to get to 20, to 50, to 100. The whole premise in the 10X rule is if that's your target, it's still too small. You see, if I'm stretching to get to 3 million and I need great people and I'm talking about getting to 3 million, great people don't work for small businesses. They're busy. See, I got to talk about 30 million because now I can attract somebody who wants to be a part of a $30 million business versus somebody that wants to be a part of a $1 million business. You see, the bigger you think, the bigger your picture, law of picture is, the more 10X you have, the more room there is for people to be in your bubble. And I talk about this in the book. I break it down using my own discovery, my own experiences. How I found mentors, how I learned from the mentors, how I applied from the mentors what I've learned. And now we've got $2 billion of business owners in 4 years that we've seen grow. I mean, I got my Silvas, they were 3 million, making 100 grand a year in their landscaping business since 2006. 2020, they go to 8 million. 2021, we go to 22 million. 2020, 21, 22. 22, we did 33 million. 21, we did 22 million. And 20 during COVID, we did 8 million. And in 19, when I started working with them, they were 3 million, making 100 grand a year since 2006. Aaron Christensen Automotive. He was running his little $2 or $3 million business while he was in Kuwait, protecting our country and his teammates. And his business was starting to go under. And he called and he got him on training and we started working with him. And he came home. We blew that business up from a few million that was going out of business to 4 million to 8 million. And then COVID hit. And one of his big competitors stumbled and couldn't make their lease payments. We went and picked up a bunch of locations and we ran 2 groups of employees through there in 12 months, fired 49 people in the first round, replaced them, got rid of 49 people in the second round, replaced them. That business sold within 15 months, 18 months of buying it. I can't tell you how much, but let's just say if you said 10 million and you put a multiplier on top of it, tens of millions, to a place where he never will have to work again. See, all that happened in 3 years. When you have the right mindset. And the right mindset isn't how much money I can make. The right mindset is who do I want to emulate? Who do I need to be around? What can I learn from them? How can I design my life? And what do I want it to look like? Who can I bring along with me? How do we need to execute? It's the strategic side of everything you want to create while you're on this earth. Law of intention, then you take action, and then you attract. And I just hope that one of you, I don't actually hope, I demand that one of you learn from this book and change your life. I hope for all of you, but I demand at least one of you. Because otherwise I waste. And I got my next book and my next book. And John Maxwell said, you need to get your first book out because people need context until how you transformed from where you're at to where you are right now. So I've got a trilogy. Because the next book that's 70% done is exactly what we do every single day backed by science. And then the next book is going to be how I created $1 billion in 60 months. Step by step. Document by document. Video by video. See, there's a lot of people on the internet. I had no social media when I met my partner. There's a lot of people on the internet that say a lot of things and they're really super good at promotion. And unfortunately, as I've done my homework and checked it out, most of them are entirely full of crap. A few of them are absolutely legitimate. Some of them have been unbelievable successful in business and they're just starting to promote. They're the up-and-comers. You should know who they are. Just because somebody's pretty and they sound good and they use big words and promote that they've done all these things. See, it's your responsibility to know where you're going, who you're going to listen to, and to qualify your mentor. I talk about exactly how to qualify a mentor. Somebody you're going to let up here. There's a very specific process. And I break down how to qualify who you're going to listen to and who you're going to let in your head. Because the only thing you can protect, the only thing you can dominate, the only thing you can actually own without having to give up 1 cent of money to anyone is what's up there. Your mind. And if you don't take ownership of programming your mind, then who is programming it? You see, most of us in our present moment have been conditioned from the people that we grew up with, our parents, our extended family, the school system, the churches we grew up in, the government telling us what to do. I mean, I think it can't be any more obvious than the last couple of years. Our workplaces and bosses we've had, do this, say this, don't go on break. Like all our life we've been told what to do. You have an opportunity to do whatever you want to do. If all I do is unlock that structural aspect, how to create that, how to expand your visibility into establishing your belief. You see, a majority of people can't believe it until they see it, which is why most people just don't even try. But there is a gift to some people, which is the ability to believe it before they see it. Therefore, it allows them to see it because they believe it. There's a way to teach yourself, program your mindset to do that. I talk about it in the book. See, you're either influencing or you're being influenced. This is the whole thesis behind sell or be sold from my partner, Grant Cardone. You're either intentionally selling or something or somebody is selling you and you're being sold. From a very basic premise, if you don't have a clear picture of where you want to arrive, what your destination looks like, and who's going on the journey with you, then you won't be able to start to move towards the completion of the journey. So you just meander around, get what you get, and hope it works out. Conversely, you can literally say, I'm going to do this, and create the conditions for that to happen. And once you learn that, and you start teaching others that, and you 10x your bubble, you're going to accumulate a whole bunch of people inside of your bubble because they have room for them to grow too. And they have a mentor who's teaching them how to do it. This is how you go from big to huge. This is how you go from a limited impact to a massive impact, a 10x impact. See, output, what you put out, amplifies input. This is why social media is such a direct example of that. But you learn this through building your business, generating resources, creating a net worth. The more you put out, the more you get back in. So look, 31.5 million small to mid-sized businesses, 2/3 fail in the first 5 years, 97% fail within 10 years. How do we fix all that? How do we take the excuses away of no demand for my product or service, or can't find any good employees, or I can't get financing? Well, look, if you run a crappy business, you're not going to attract great people. And if you don't attract great people because you run a crappy business, you're not going to get access to financing other than from your friends and family. Oh, does that make Thanksgiving and Christmas uncomfortable? Statistically, 97% of anybody that takes your friends and family's business is going to go broke. Not necessarily the best use or best place to get capital. All right. How does mindset fix those statistics? That's a great question. And so what I wanted to understand in 2003 and 2004 is, how do you identify why failure occurs and what differentiates those people from failure from those that had unbelievable success? And that sent me on a mission of learning, developing, studying, understanding, researching, and then building. And that led me to the breakpoints. So there's literally, I've discovered 7 breakpoints from startup to $125 million in revenue. Breakpoint 1 is $100,000 to $3 million. And 98% of all businesses under 100 million are stuck under 3 million. They have less than 12 employees. So why is 12 employees such a magical number in 3 million? It's because it's about the size where you can attract your friend from college, or get your wife to do your books, or your husband to do your books, and find your brother-in-law to run sales, or your sister-in-law to be a nurse, or whatever it is. It's about what you can manage until it becomes unmanageable. And as long as whatever you do works, well, you can create a business. But when it doesn't work, a lot of panic gets settled in, and there's a lot of close people that get involved, and a lot of destruction. Breakpoint 2 is 3 million to 8 million. And that becomes more about like learning to find the right people, develop the right people, create some process around your business. And then from 8 to 15 million, breakpoint 3, it's about the leadership you develop and some of the tools that you're able to measure your processes and your key performance indicators off of, and your ability to actually understand in real time what's going on in your business and have enough leaders that you developed, not because you like them, not because they're related to you, but because they're doing their roles, their responsibilities, and their function against a stated objective. Inspiration is in the business. Discipline's in the business. Accountability is in the business, right? Alignment. Your teams are aligned and they're working together. Results, you're hitting targets and you're growing. By the time you get to 15 million, if that's not what's causing you to get to 15 million, you'll slide backwards. Statistically, if you're the one person that's doing all that for your business, you don't have 3 leaders in your business at 15 million and you're doing it all, you are going to collapse statistically. Going to break. You're going to bust. And let me tell you, the reason these are called breakpoints is because at the top end of each of these categories, businesses 97% of the time broke and went broke. And 3% of the time, they broke through to the next level. That's why I call them breakpoints. You either break or you break through. Now, by the time you get to breakpoint 4, 15 to 25 million, by the time you get to the top end of breakpoint 4, you're going to be running your business on 14 to 17 different systems. Your team's going to be confused. And so the first person you're going to go hire, statistically, is somebody that has much higher financial awareness than the people you had working for you before, and they're going to come in and tell you need to change how you're paying your compensation. You need to change how you're collecting cash. They're going to change everything because the IRS says at 25 million you have to move to accrual from cash, and what you used to bring in as cash and count it as a sale and pay your commission on, you now call it a deposit. And so your salespeople are saying, what do you mean we don't get paid on it for a period of time? And then they leave your best people to go to someone who's got a smaller business, who then can pay the old comp plan, and you lose statistically a big piece of your best salespeople. Kind of hurts. As certain as gravity the 3 to 5 indicators that happen at the top end of each break point that compound on each other as you get bigger are going to happen. So the more you know, the more you can drive to the right things, doing it the right way, the more value you can create. Now, once you get over 25 million, your move technically goes to 45 million. And this is where you start to realize, man, I got to bring in some new people, some executives. You bring a consultant or two in, they really confuse you. You bring in the consultants are telling you that you got some of the wrong people doing wrong things in the business. You need to upgrade them. You try to hire new people, but you're not good at hiring all those people. So maybe the first few you hire aren't the right people, but your loyal people leave. And it's just like this convoluted mess of multiple things happening at the same time while you're trying to understand all the data coming from 17 different systems. It gets pretty hairy. This is right. This is where the private equity guys love to play. Like I salmon fish, and when I catch like a 35 to 55 pound king salmon, I'm like, oh my God, versus like a 10 pound. Well, the private equity guys, they're looking at you like you're a king salmon that's 50 pounds. Like when they can get in there and you're like confused and your costs are up and you're scared, man, that they love to buy those businesses all day long. And they just fix the stuff that you don't even know you should know about. Because remember, in the scaling process of starting up and getting to 125 million or 50 million or 25 million, remember, it isn't what you know based on my own story of waking up and being told they're selling my business, I'm out of a job. When I was at the peak of my career, I learned a very valuable lessons, and I'll tell you what I learned. You don't know what you don't know until it slaps you in the face. So the more you can educate yourself on the 76 things that happen between startup and getting to 125 million and under what sequence and in which place needs to be in place, the better off you are. Now, how does mindset? Here's the thing. This is not an operations class. I'm going to bring this back into mindset. Could you throw the other 2 breakpoints up? So I'm going to take you to 125 million, right? These breakpoints go to $1 billion, by the way. There's 11 breakpoints between 0 and $1 billion. The reason mindset's important is because Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone talk about this all the time. To put something new in you, you've got to give something up. You've got to get rid of to put more in. Well, every time you enter one of these breakpoints, you're going to be in a different cycle of your life because you're going to deal with things you've never dealt with before. So if you don't understand how to control this, if you don't understand how to manage this, if you don't take ownership, then every time you go to a new breakpoint, you're going to get blasted with a whole new series of complexities. And you have to have the resilience. I teach a leadership program. I call it the 4 A's. Acknowledge when you're under pressure, stress, resistance, fear, anger. High emotion, low intelligence, okay? When you feel that emotion, you follow the 4-step process. Acknowledge it, accept it. Like the faster you can go to, okay, I'm pissed off. I accept that. Acknowledge and accept it. Let the energy out. Now the 3rd A is act. What do you want to have happen? Go write it on the whiteboard. What do you want a result to be? And then take action towards that stated objective. Promote it to everyone. Everyone, this is what we're going to do. This is what I want to have happen. This is what's going to happen. And then the 4th A is as you start to get traction, you attack it. You just like obliterate it. So if you're not hitting targets every day, you accept that. You acknowledge, you accept it, now you act. What is your target and what are you going to do to fix it? Then you take action. And as you start to gain traction, you absolutely obliterate it. This is, in its nuance, the whole principle of the 10X rule. Whatever you're doing, 10X it. So look, the mindset will be the thing that determines the asset. What is that asset going to look like? Because every time you enter a new cycle of doing something you've never done before, and remember, to get big, you're going to have to add people. So the thing you've never done before is add as many people as you're adding. The thing you've never done before is having those people do things you've never done before. Somebody has to own this. The same person making the same decisions, doing the exact same actions, isn't going to be the person that puts you in another break point. So you get to own this. God gave you that gift. This needs to be programmed. So all I did was use my story to tell you how I learned how to do that. What I had to give up, what I had to replace it with, and what the results were. It's simply to give you exactly the formula that changed my life so I can help you find a path to potentially changing yours. It's literally that simple. But you have to acknowledge that for you to do something you've never done before, you have to be intentional about the next thing you want to do, and then you, as a person, has to change something that you don't have in you yet because you're entering a new cycle. And when you realize you can do that over and over and over, and more interestingly, when you can help others do that, which is exactly why I wrote this book, life becomes so much fun. Now, is it all easy? No. Do you have problems? Yeah. You're going to make mistakes? Of course. That's in itself the definition of incremental improvement, because when you do it, you get to get better. To build a muscle, you got to have it fail. It's so simple when you acknowledge it and accept it. Take action towards what you want and then attack it. But see, this has to be right. So, look. All I can do is try to be an example. And by attaching to somebody who's an example to me, think of what I've created. I went from losing everything to finding some mentors that I read their books, to today, I have friends. I have John Maxwell as a dear friend and an personal advisor. I have Grant Cardone as a business partner. Oh my God. I have all these authors, Elena, Sharon, Jim Collins. I got all these people that changed my life that I personally know, and for some of them, I'm their business partners, and we're making money together, and we're crushing life together, but they were unknown to me until I read their books. And that's what John Maxwell said to me. Brandon, the reason you have to put a book out is because until we wrote our books, you didn't know us. And then I think of what my partner says. Those that don't know you won't flow you. So we're opening the flow up here. So I can inspire you with my story, give you the exact technical way that I went around and created the life I wanted, and what we're doing today to 10x that. It's literally that simple. It's a blueprint. And it's something I'm very proud to get to share with you. Now look, we run 100 events a year because all our events are designed around teaching business owners. I mean, look, if you, where's the pen here? Right there. You know, if you think about sales, if you're not good at sales, you need to go to a sales workshop. You think about marketing. If you're not good at marketing, you need to go to a marketing workshop. If you're not good with people, you need to go to a people workshop. If you're not good with operations, you need to go to an operations workshop. If you don't understand leadership, you need to go to a leadership workshop. If you don't know about money, you need to go to a finance workshop. If you don't know about real estate, You need to go to a real estate workshop. If you don't know about how to buy businesses, you need to go to the buying businesses workshop. If you go to GrowthCon to learn about 10x business, you go to the business boot camp. You go to 10x GrowthCon. These are all events that are designed to inform you, to inspire you, to enlighten you. Then when you go, wow, I can go do it all by myself and spend the next couple of years, that's great. Or you can go to the 10X 360 as it pertains to business, and we'll map you through all those elements. What's in place, what's not in place, what needs to be in place against the breakpoints, so you understand how it all works. And then you go to the workshops to fill in the gaps because we're teaching you to do it yourself. Or you can hire us and we will actually engineer your business. Then you can hire us in our strategic business unit and we can actually manage your business for you. By the time people get down to here, this is where Grant and I are talking to them about partnering. And that's why we've got about $500 million of businesses that we've partnered with. Because we believe in the business owners. We've all been working together. We've been developing together. They've had so much success together. And see, you could go to one of these things for $2,000, or you could spend, by the time you go through everything, you could spend $600,000 to $1 million with us. But you're not going to spend $600,000 to $1 million if you spend $2,000 and get no value. And as you continue to spend money, if you keep getting value because you're getting bigger, more profitable, better quality of life, you're manifesting the world you want. You're going to keep coming back and we're going to become friends and then we're going to become business partners. The exact cycle I followed with reading from my mentors, learning from them, using what they taught me, having success, going deeper, becoming friends, becoming business partners, building together. That's law of attraction. And the whole point in all this is all the years of research and process and everything that I built and then finding the right kind of partners and lowering my ego. You know, it's not easy for a guy that's worth $100 million to go to a guy like Grant Cardone and say, I'll give you half of the business we're going to create. I'll do everything. You just need to help me with my mindset and you need to introduce me to your community and you need to help me become better at sales and marketing and social media and mentor me personally in doing that. And if you do that, I will go build us a business that's worth billions of dollars. You can have half of it. Here we are, 48 months later, worth over $500 million. There's some clues there. I talk about it in my book. So many of you do things the hard way. Collaboration is an all new currency in itself. You want to get wealthy? You got to get wealthy up here first. If you're not wealthy up here, you're not going to be wealthy here. And you have to determine, like people say to me, 9 figures, 9 figures. I go, yeah, but what's 9 figures mean to you? See, 9 figures is everything over 100 million to 999 million. That's a big gap. 9 figures is different than, I have a $100 million business versus I have 100 million of cash in the bank. Those are two entirely different things. I have a $100 million net worth is entirely different than I have 100 million in cash. These are important. Your ability to learn to define exactly the thing that you want to attract in your life is in itself a science and an art. I break that down for you very specifically of how I learned to do it. Who taught me? I also, look, unlike a lot of people who take credit, like we have people that come through our programs and then you see them on social media using all of our language. Model, mimic, they can mimic. Mastery is when you've actually done it and you have the receipts to prove it. And I would tell you most of those people don't have the receipts. So they can go out and try to spout it out, but then they really can't connect the dots. So model and mimic is the lowest form of duplication. Mastery and multiplication is the highest form. So for me, it's like when you come in and you learn this stuff and you go home and do it and get the result, now you're starting to master because you understand what context Why you're doing it, how you did it, and what the result was. That's the highest form of contribution that you can give to another human being, because to go to the fourth M, model, mimic, mastery, multiply, you have to teach others to do it. And this is where the real reward is. So these programs can start at anywhere from $2,000 and go up to $1 million if you want them. But what I wanted to do is bring to you the ability to understand, without having to make a massive investment like this, how you create your reality. And that's why I took the time to write the book. And that's why I listened to my mentor, both Grant and John Maxwell, that said, get it in writing and get it out so people can learn from it. Now, I think what's important is that you don't just hear from me, because, am I back on this monitor here? Yeah, good. I think it's important that you don't just hear from me about this, that I actually introduce you to my mentors. I introduce you to the people I listen to. I introduce you to the people I partner with. So I'm going to be having some of those people. Have you introduced the event yet? Oh, so I'm holding an event, a very special event. Did you want to cross? Go ahead. JC's got to get his head. Hey, JC, could you do me a favor? I left my Bang sitting there. Could you grab? I just need a drink or something. My throat's starting to. Excuse me real quick. You know, when you go 3 or 4 hours talking, I came over here talking for 3 or 4 hours.
And first off, can I see a 10x in the comments for Brandon so far? I was literally watching the comments. It was fired up. There's a lot of new people here. It's the first time.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So no, we have not talked about the event yet, and usually like for like what we just talked about back here, like this is where you can go deep on every single one. If you have an obstacle in your life, if you have an opportunity in your life, if you have a place that you're like it's a weakness, like we want to be able to do this. But there's 3 things that you need for anything. You need the commitment. You guys made the commitment here. You need the knowledge. You just got like a very tip of the iceberg here that like this man will freaking go for weeks on this stuff. But then you need the immersion, because you need the immersion on what's between your ears. You need the mindset. That's exactly why he wrote this book, 9-Figure Mindset. So what we've put together.
And you need some of the source code too. That's the one thing, like I was talking about people that tell you that they're so successful and they're like, oh, I, and they never give you the source code. And most of the time it's because they haven't actually done it. So they don't want to have that accountability. But I try to introduce you, like I always tell everybody, what was the source code? And in my book, I talk about all the different mentors in my life by name, what I learned from them, and how the relationships evolved. And all those people from back then, even though some of them lost a lot of money working with me and supporting me in my first company, they're all like family to me. I've not lost any mentors. I've only added to the stable of mentors. So when I do events and stuff, I bring those mentors from 20 years ago. I've had Hector show up and speak at my events. I've had John Maxwell come in and talk about what he and I were doing in 2012 and 2013. Hector can talk about what we were doing in 1997. Mark Still, the guy that took me to Wall Street, made me cut my hair and put a suit on and lose my watch. You got a chance to talk to him. He's been with me since 1996. I bring these people in that changed my life, and it's unbelievable for you when you're participating in those things with me, for you to be able to see what the genesis was back then and what their perception was, and then what's happened now over 25 years. So I'm going to do this event. I'm going to bring in a bunch of my friends and mentors who all have 9-figure mindset and all have the resume to back it up.
Yeah, and up until now, this has only been reserved for his BMLP program, which is $150,000 a year.
180,000.
Or 180,000. Sorry, 180,000. So let's go to that next slide, because we put something together for you, because times are probably shifting. If you guys aren't feeling it, then good for you, and continue to do that. But because this is,
if you're not feeling it, you're not pushing hard enough.
Yeah, true.
So times are shifting, but if you're not feeling it, it's because you're not shifting time.
Yep.
But this is the mindset thing. Your responsibility is to shift. Otherwise, you're living in mediocrity. You're either being shifted or you're shifting. So what are you shifting to, or what are you being shifted to? This is really super important. I didn't mean to cut you off, but the point is,
it's a great
this
point.
is stuff that we teach. when you read the book and then when you're going to come to this program.
Yeah, because if you're not feeling it, like you said, you're not pushing hard enough. So because of this and because of the book, you can go to the next slide, we put together what we're calling the boardroom. And as part of this boardroom, you get access. We actually added it up. We were at his house the other night, and we're like, man, all these people coming in, they're worth over $1 trillion or responsible of $1 trillion in the marketplace. I don't know about you.
I actually am bringing one of my mentors, one of my friends, one of my business partners. I got him to commit. I'm just telling you guys, in the last 6 years, this person has moved over $500 billion through bank accounts.
Wow.
$500 billion. Wow. He's going to come in and talk about what's going on and how to make sure you can get some of that.
Yep. And it's like, these are the best of the best people coming. And you can't buy a ticket to this event. There's only one way to actually get in. So go over. So we have 3 packages here for you. We got some people that just, hey, I just want to do 25 books. I want to get in the room for $650 because this is like a no-brainer. We also have a 100-book package, and then what we're calling the 9-figure baller for those that want to go backstage. They want to have a private lunch with the speakers. We have some confirmed, and we have some other ones that we're working on, which is pretty cool.
I can give you an idea who's going to be there.
Please do.
John Maxwell is going to be there. Uh-huh. 2 of my buddies that have had exits where they've taken $250 million and $500 million off the table, they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. My buddy who's ran $500 billion to bank accounts in the last 5 years, he's going to be there. Potentially, my dear friend Ray Lewis and I, who are working on a project together, is going to be there. He's a champion 2 times over.
Yep. One guy who sold his company for $1 billion.
I got it. My buddy that just sold for $1 billion is going to be there. Mm-hmm. This is going to be the most intimate group of established people that I've ever put. My business partner, Grant Cardone, he may be there. Maybe his wife, Elena. Mm-hmm. It's up to you. You know, the more of you that come to this 2-day event, the easier it's going to be for me to get all my friends to come.
Yep.
If I say there's 10 people coming or only 100, it'd be like, that's awesome, Dawson. If I tell them there's 1,000 of some of the most forward-thinking thought leaders that want to crush it in life, they're all going to come. So you have an obligation, a responsibility here too. And the reason we're doing this is because if you're like, what am I going to do with 100 books? Give them away. I don't care. Change other people's minds. Learn the power of leadership. Mm-hmm. Leadership is making other people's success easy. It's impacting other people's lives. What you got? What, 250 books? Donate them to the Grant Cardone Foundation. Let's give them to all the kids that we work with, the inner city kids. Grant spends millions of dollars a year helping these inner city kids. Ray Lewis is going to take all these to the inner city kids. Donate them to our charities, the Ray Lewis Foundation, the Grant Cardone Foundation. Buy 10,000 books and give the gift to people to learn how to manage and control their mind. I'm not selling tickets to this thing. I'm fronting the whole cost of this to bring my leadership, my mentors, the people that changed my life, and to give you a piece of transparency into how we do it, how we did it, how they did it, the quality of the people that I build my life off of and listen to, and how I figure out who I'm going to listen to. These are all the secrets. They're covered in the book. But man, when you get to sit with the people and go through 25 years of me doing it and be in that proximity, it will touch your life forever, I promise you.
Yeah, so guys, the reality of the situation is like the whole purpose of this event is to spread your mission. We want to get this book in as many hands as possible. So we aren't allowing anybody just to purchase a ticket. Now, if you're like, hey, I don't want those books, I want to donate them to the GC Foundation, cool. Just go ahead and buy it and just let us know, contact our customer service. We've already done that. Actually, we've donated a lot on behalf of the Grant Cardone Foundation. But there's clients that you can give it to. There's future business prospects that you can give it to. You can give it to your team, give it to your family. Like, that book can go into a lot of great hands. But you'll see right down here, we got 3 packages. There's some amazing things that we're going to do. We got some amazing speakers that we can do. And then you guys can throw up that lower third. That if you just go to cardoneventures.com/value, that's cardoneventures.com/value, get your ticket. Like this is something that you guys, this exclusive group that have opted in to pre-order for the book, like you guys are like the close niche family that are helping us spread this word. And then we're going to open it up to the public. So if you want to be one of the first people on this, we've actually already sold a bunch of tickets anyways, but get in now because I can tell you that it's going to be something pretty special. And
yeah, I'm reading this, Janelle Parnell. The case studies are repetitive and wish we had a few consultants on the roster.
oh, well, we do.
Because, like, why would anybody want a consultant?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want
a consultant. No, not a consultant. No.
I don't want a consultant. No. I want people that are actually doing it.
Doing it, yes.
Most consultants haven't done anything.
Yeah.
They work by themselves.
I read that as a few new people. But we have some new people that you guys I just never heard of. So go to cardoneventures.com/value. And we're actually just going to take a...
Oh, but I saw a comment about ladies.
Yeah,
by the way,
we got some...
I mentioned my friends, but we got some 9-figure ladies coming too. This isn't just going to be a men thing. We got a whole bunch of 9-figure people coming. I mentioned a few of my close friends, but I also have some other friends, and we have a couple 9-figure ladies that we're getting on the schedule here too. Mm-hmm. There's some rock star women that have absolutely killed it. Natalie was just in Europe with one of our friends who's over $1 billion. So we're going to pack this room. It's going to be the best 2-day event I personally think I've ever done. And it's going to be centered around not the technical aspect, but how to program your mindset to be a champion and succeed.
Can't wait. We're going to take we're just going to play one video. Go ahead and get your ticket, get your seat reserved. Like, you're not going to want to miss this. And then we got some other things that we want to share with you. We'll be right back here in like a couple minutes.
You see, we're on a mission here. And the mission is to prepare all of our 10X community for the opportunity that's right in front of you.
He sold his last company for $155
million at an astonishing 77 times EBITDA.
Very accomplished serial entrepreneur.
I can't think of somebody else more qualified to talk about scaling your company.
The thing that makes you so successful and so unique is that you can take a thought and put it into practical action. In fact, I know no one that's at the level of you.
As the co-founder and CEO of Cardone Ventures, you, alongside iconic business partner Grant Cardone, together are impacting millions of lives all around the world.
I love Brandon. Big hand for Brandon Dawson. Mr. Brandon, this guy's a freaking genius. This guy's helped me so much in the last 4 years to exit our business. It's not 3 employees anymore. Now they're 800.
A 6-time Inc. 500 and Inc. 5000 recipient. 2-time Ernst & Young.
The biggest issue with business owners is they don't actually understand how to create that value. So they create whatever value they're building. They look at their business in reverse, where it's at right now, where it started. Oh my gosh, I'm finally here. We're looking at the business of where it could be in 10 years to absolutely maximize value.
Nobody does it better than Brandon Dawson.
Hearing Brandon speak up on stage, he brings so much energy, and I really love how he's just really direct and honest.
Brandon and the team, he really helps put forth and implements the tools that's going to allow us to get that massive growth that we want.
Man, Brandon's kind of like that Wizard of Oz guy that's, the guy behind the curtain. Brandon's a business genius. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's been on the New York Stock Exchange. He sold a company that went public. I know he can help me grow my company.
I was looking for some help. I needed some expert guidance, and that's when I looked up Brandon. I think he's got heart. He possesses the skill sets that I think every business owner would like to. And so any opportunity you have to be a part of what he is, I think is worth pursuing.
Brandon's an amazing person. I mean, he's unassuming. If you met him, you would never know the depth of knowledge and experience he has. And what I really like about him is he's here to kind of like inspire us and to give us hope, but he does it in a way where it's not fluff. It's not motivation, it's factual.
The old saying, right? If you really want to follow somebody, it's not just following someone because they talk the talk, they have to walk the walk.
This guy's done it. You can go back, he has a track history. Not only is he coming forward and pitching this as a plan, he's already roadmapped this thing all the way up. So my confidence level that Brandon can take us to the next level is 100%.
I didn't question his capabilities. I didn't question how he did things. He just really convinced me that this is something that I needed to collaborate with him.
Collaboration is the new currency. The best decision you can make is partnering with us as a community and with each other.
Give it up for Brandon Dawson!
All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that little clip there. What I really want you to do, though, is I want you to meet. For some of you, put in here if this is the first time you've ever even heard me talk. Just put 10x. If this is like first ever, I just want to see how many people. This is like brand new intro. Didn't know me and haven't seen me talk. Okay, so here's the thing. One of the things I'd like to give you a little taste of some of the mentors I have, some of the business partners I've got, and basically show you like the kinds of conversations that take place with the doors closed. So I have 4 of my mentors. I'm going to let you listen to a couple of them. Kevin Turner was responsible for running over $2.5 trillion of market value. He's had hundreds of thousands of employees between his stint at Walmart, his being the CEO of Sam's Club, being the chief operating officer, the only human being to serve under all 3 CEOs of Microsoft, and then launching Citadel. This guy is one of the best, biggest leaders I've ever spent time around. I want you to listen to what it looks like when you're in a private room with him. This was my last leadership program. He'll be here. Go ahead and play the Kevin Turner video, please.
I mean, that communication line with your people about how are things going, what do you like, what do you not like, how can I help you? Some simple questions sometimes can turn over very revealing insights for you to consider to adjust to.
What was some of the, when you think about all those employees and you think about, we talk about attack speed, right? I think we'd all agree if you had hundreds of thousands of employees, you got to be able to cut through and figure out who the high contributors are, who the problematic people are. And from your experience, what were some of the learnings of how to do that, how to determine, especially when you're popping to different countries and you have their culture and you have different languages and you're not quite sure what they're even saying to you sometimes. And just how did you evolve to where you could determine as fast as possible who somebody is you can lean into and who you needed to cut bait with?
We would have a standing Monday call, and it would be with the countries in the areas. So when you have a few countries, you can do it with countries. Then when you have a lot of countries, you roll some countries up into areas. So you go from countries to areas, and then when you get a lot of areas, then you can go to regions. You have a handful of regions. So we built it, at first it was calls with the countries and big countries. And you can kind of get a sense of, tell us what you're going to do this week. Tell us what you got done last week. And tell us what you're going to do for the quarter. And you can kind of just keep track of like 3 things. And I'm a copious note taker. And I always have been my whole life. And so I would always, when I got to Microsoft, they didn't have this process. And I was always like, all right, hey, last week you said you were going to.
I didn't want this to go on too long, and it's real high level what he's talking about, but what I want you to hear, you think you have a problem with 1 or 2 employees. He's literally talking about how to manage hundreds of thousands of people from a business unit to a region to a country to like think about what you're dealing with and think about what you can learn from somebody who's managing hundreds of thousands of people. This is an example of the kind of things that we talk about and the kind of things we do. Now, obviously, that's really super high level. That was from one of my last leadership classes, and what is going to happen is when you come to this event, you're going to be able to submit questions. And I'll interview my guests, but you'll be able to get direct answers back. So this is an example of that. Now, my good friend Ken Goodrich, who built his business, a $5 million company in 2013 when he bought Gettle, to a business he sold in the HVAC space for over $550 million at the end of 2021. So literally, what is that, 8 years? Like 8 years, pretty fast. So I want you to hear what he sounds like when we're talking. You guys want to play Ken real quick?
You did a big transaction 18 months ago, and bigger than most people could comprehend, when they think about building their business, getting to 10 million or getting to 20 million or getting to 50 million.
Like when you finally hit that, ring that bell that most people will dream of, most people won't get to. What is life after ringing the bell for you, Ben?
When you're building your business, I want to tell you this, you're in the best place you could possibly be here, and I'm not part of this, I'm just his friend. This is the best place you can be because he's teaching you how to build the system of the business, right? Which is no different than if you were you build a custom home and sold it, right? You got a piece of land, you got a blueprint, you got a plan, budget, schedule. You follow the plan, the budget, schedule, you put up, you sell it, you make your money, you move on. You're not as attached to it because you really just narrowed it down to the fundamental things you needed to do to build it, right? A plan, budget, schedule, you got it done. It's no different with the business. A plan, a budget, and a schedule, and you drive through that and build your process, and then you monetize the business, or you keep the business to keep laying the golden eggs every month. But you're building a machine, right? You're building a system to make money.
When you look, yeah, so think about it. A plan, a budget, a schedule. A plan, a budget, a schedule. Every break point is a plan, a budget, a schedule. You see, being at the 9-figure boardroom, having access to these type of people, I just want you to think about, here's a guy that in 8 years created a business that was doing $5 million in revenue and sold it for $550 million. A plan, a budget, and a schedule. What were your personal kind of professional and financial breakpoints while you scaled and grew your business? And he's built his business by overcoming his own addictions. And when he overcame his addiction, he realized, I could help other people. Now, sometimes you build a 9-figure business or a 9-figure exit or a 9-figure mindset or a 9-figure net worth because you were able to solve your own problems, and then you realize, wait a minute, if I can do that, I can help others. His story and my story are so similar. It's just what we did is entirely different and how we did it. I solved the problem for business owners of starting, growing, scaling, and exiting at a high value. That's the problem I solved. He solved the problem of having drug addiction, overcoming it, and then helped thousands and thousands of people do the same thing. But I think it's important to hear different kinds of messages from different people who had success. Do you want to play Eric Spofford's video real quick? Let him see what that conversation. What were your personal kind of professional and financial breakpoints while you scaled and grew your business to 55 million?
God, we could spend all day talking about this. I remember employee number one, like the decision to hire the first guy to help me out doing some of this stuff. And for me, I've never had a job. I mean, I was a drug dealer and a stick-up kid until I got sober, and worked in construction a little bit, and then started this business. And so I was learning how to fly the plane at 40,000 feet for all of it. And so, I started sales and seeing needs and services and things that this population needed. And so I started to meet those needs, which grew my business. And then I started to build and hire team members. And before I knew it,
So there you go. I ask a question very specific, and you get a very clear answer from someone who had a 9-figure exit as well. And so I just want you to, for those of you that are questioning, like, what's this experience going to be like? It's going to be better than this, I promise you, because look, for me, I've been spending years putting this book together, and it's such a commitment to do it. And I'll be honest with you, I opened that book. I could just take any section, open the book. I'll start reading it, and probably 50% chance I'm going to start welting up, and I'm probably even going to start crying because it's so real. It really happened. I even have a section in there where I talk about why I went through 2 divorces. I open that section up and it talks about my ex-wives. Like, personal, professional, or financial breakpoints are going to happen as you're growing and scaling your business because it's all intertwined. What did I learn about what I did wrong in my first 2 relationships? That's, for some of you, you might be struggling with your relationship. How did we overcome that? How did I fix it? How did I make sure this time around I was in alignment with the big picture and I was with the right person. Like I had to go through a process because I had to realize if 2 out of 2 times I was a contributor to something not working, it's also my fault. So what parts of that can I own in order to change it in the future? This is what personal development and expanding your mindset and setting the right kind of targets. So you got to be intentional about stuff. This next person I want you to hear from, obviously I love this man to death, is going to be there at this event. And it's John Maxwell. You guys want to play John for him for a minute?
Between best and better. I was having a dinner one time. We were traveling international a couple years ago with Mark Cole, who you know, Mark, who runs everything for me. And Mark said, John, I watch you, like when we have a victory, you just celebrate big time with us. But within 24 hours, you're so off of that. You're back in the game. And he said, I watch us have some losses and hits, and we all want to go suck air and go find a bridge to jump off. And you kind of groan with us for about just about a day, and then you're back in the game again. It's kind of like it never happened. The success never happened. The failure never happened. And he said, talk to me about how do you emotionally get through all this and kind of steady back right into the game. And I told him, I said, well, it's the difference between best and better. Every time I speak, I give it my best, 100%. I mean, why would I speak without giving? I mean, I value people. I tell people, I value you so much, I'm going to do well. I mean, you deserve it. I value you so much, I'm going to come in 100%. I'm going to give you I'm going to look at you with integrity and say, I'm giving you my best shot right now. That's a fact. But when I'm done, I don't assume that that's the best I could ever do with that. I just assume it was the best I could do at that moment. So the next day, I'm looking for better. In fact, best, which is kind of like the ceiling in the moment, the next day is the floor.
All right, so look, it's just a little glimpse into how intimate these conversations are. Honestly, these are some of the
I just keep working it and tweaking
people
it.
I've ever met, and the rest of them that I'm bringing into this event, it's going to be just such a special event. Especially my dear friend, I love him to death, Ray Lewis. He's trying to move his schedule around to come for sure. Just the kinds of things that when you realize you can create a reality and you put action behind it, what actually happens and the impact and the result of that. So this is going to be awesome. I have a dear friend of mine. I met this gentleman at the Growth Con that I went to when I first saw Grant. I heard him speak, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, this poor guy, this speaker, he's one of the last speakers. It's a 3-day event. People are tired, they're worn out, and he comes out on stage, and this guy blew it out of the park. I had never felt the energy in a room so big it's hard to express to you what the message was and how impactful it was. But he's become a dear friend. He's a business partner for Grant and myself. He runs our 10X stages. He's a partner in that, teaches people how to do what he does. And he's a friend first, business partner second. But I want to bring on Pete Vargas. Pete, are you there, buddy?
Yeah, Brandon, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I hear you. It's so good to see you, dude.
Dude, I am glad to be here, and I'm gonna be short and sweet, which is not normal because I'm a former pastor, and anytime a pastor gets a mic, they can talk for a long time. But I got to tell you guys, one of the biggest mistakes. Hey, everybody, I hope you guys are well. Pete Vargas coming to you from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I want to tell you one of the biggest mistakes that I made in business, and I wished I would have known Brandon Dawson 2 decades ago, and I know him now, and I know what this book is going to do. And I know what the people like John Maxwell and so many other people say, including myself, is this guy is a business savant. This guy is a business genius. And one of the biggest mistakes that I believe entrepreneurs make in their business journey, or people wanting to start some type of movement or business or nonprofit, is that they listen to the wrong people. They listen to the wrong people. Actually, how I started the second phase of my business, the mistake I made is I listened to internet marketers. Anybody ever listen to an internet marketer out there and that they position and they tell you all of this advice and it sounds so great because they've been trained? This is how an internet marketer has been trained. An internet marketer has been trained to hook you, to actually know what you're thinking at night, to actually know what worries you, and then to put sales copy to your problems and your pain points. And then they hook you and they train you and they make it seem like they understand the problems that you're facing. But really, all they understand, Brandon Dawson, is how to write great sales copy. And what I did is I got hooked in by some of these internet marketers out of the gates, and I thought they understood business. And they didn't understand business. And so I'm subscribing to the things that they're saying. And I don't need to mention names, but I'm subscribing. And I'm like, why is this thing not working? And why, according to like John Maxwell, the law of the lid continues to hit? Like I just keep pounding my head on a ceiling. It's like pound, ow, like constantly. It's because they couldn't take me to a different place because first off, I had already passed them. And second off, I could have been so much higher had I known Brandon Dawson. And I don't know if you know much about Brandon. Brandon's got products and services that I thought nobody in this world will ever be able to have a $30,000 product in a workshop. Nobody's going to ever be able to have a $150,000 product. Whoa. Nobody's going to ever be able to have a $400,000 product. But Brandon Dawson, he did. And I don't know many people, I don't know any, if I'm being honest, that have that caliber of a product suite. And here's the reason why. Because Brandon and Natalie understand business. They understand business. Like, I'm going to, let me just keep it real for a second. Brandon is so busy because Brandon is building real businesses. He doesn't know maybe the sales copy because he knows the real thing. He doesn't need to know the sales copy. He knows that what's going to happen at $100,000 for you. He knows what's going to happen at $3 million for you. He knows what's going to happen at $10 million for you. He knows the pain point that is going to happen at 25 million and 50 million and 100 million. He knows those. And I wish we're so busy. All of us are so busy. I wish that I could even have more time with him, but he's too busy building businesses, and so am I. And here's the crazy thing. The book that he's put out is now something that I'm not going to read once. I'm going to read every year because Brandon understands, actually truly understands the real pain point of what businesses face. And what I got to tell you is the guy's the real deal. Him and you guys already know this because you're here. Him and Natalie are the real deal. And this book, I believe that the people that read this book are going to start thinking like folks that want to make $100 million. We're taught so much is like, be millionaires, be millionaires, be millionaires. And I'm not degrading being a millionaire, but what if you fall short and you fall flat and now all of a sudden you make 100,000? But what if Brandon has you start to think like 100 million, 200 million? I can't wait for his next book because I already know what it's going to be. And then I fall short and I hit 10 million or 20 million or 30 million. Like he not only is having you think at a different level, he's actually giving you the solutions, the real solutions to the real problems that you and me face in our businesses. And I'm going to just be honest. One of the things that pissed me off for the first 3, 4, 5 years in business is the fact that I didn't have a mentor of that caliber. All I knew was what the internet marketers were saying. And what the internet marketers knew was great copy, great sales copy. Man, if you can write great sales copy, but they didn't understand what it meant to build a real business. And that's something Brandon Dawson does. And so I'm so grateful to Brandon. Like, I'm so grateful to the wisdom that I get from him just by being a friend and just by being a partner of his. I'm so grateful for the wisdom that I get. And I cannot believe when Brandon and Jeremy called me and they said, Brandon is going to do a room. They're calling it the boardroom, but now I'm calling it the billionaire boardroom. You can call it the 100 million boardroom, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it, but the people that are going to be in that room are the people who understand how to do something big in business, how to have an exit, how to have a company that platforms, which means that you're doing $125 million a year. How to actually take things to another level, how to build multiple companies at one time, how to actually have a team and optimize a team. One of the biggest pain points for people is that everything's falling on the CEO and the owner, and they don't know how to build a team. And so I am so flipping excited about this event for anybody, I think, that buys 25 books, 100 books, 250 books. You're going to be in that room. And I'm stoked because I'm not only going to MC the room, and the names, I found out the people that are going to be in the room today. The people who are going to be in the room are people who are not in normal rooms because they're people that are up to big, big things. Sorry for that plane. I'm across the street from the Air Force Academy. But that plane's playing at a bigger level than I am today. But Brandon Dawson and his room is playing at a much bigger level than most people that you and I get the chance to listen to in the realm of business. And so here's one of the things that I've got two things left to say. Here's one of the things that I haven't ran this by Brandon, but you asked for you asked for forgiveness and not permission. So one of the things that I'm going to do, because I know the power of people who are in the room, anybody that decides to take the 100 book option or the 250 book option, I'm going to make sure and get a very nice suite booked at wherever the venue is. And I'm going to figure out either the night before or the night of. I'll figure out these details. I'm going to figure out the night before and the night of hosting something for anybody who gets 100 books or 250 books. You're going to get a private invite to wherever this suite is or whatever this private exclusive room is. And I'm going to make sure and convince or talk into some of the people who are speaking the next day coming and sharing in this intimate setting of the room ahead of time with all of our 100 and all of our 250 book buyers. Anybody who buys 100, anybody who buys 250, you're not going to see this on the page because I haven't asked for forgiveness yet from Brandon. But it is something that I'm going to do because I want to support this book. I want this book to be in every entrepreneur's hands because I know exactly what it's going to do. It's going to make them think bigger, and it's actually going to give them the real solutions to overcoming their problems, not just some slick sales copy. And so anybody that does that, I'll make sure that I can pull a few, if not several of the speakers into that room just for this group. Just for this group. And so that's the first thing I want you guys to know is anybody that does the 100 or 250. Anybody that's in the room at all. Anybody that's in the room at all. And Brandon said, my specialty is stages and speaking. Well, you might not know this about Brandon Dawson, but Brandon Dawson is if there was a Guinness Book of World Records from the person who made more money in 60 minutes from a stage than anybody else, I'd love to say that I hold the title. I'm actually number 2. I'm number 2 behind Brandon Dawson, who's number 1. I'm number 2 behind Brandon Dawson, who's number 1. So anybody, the 25 books, all the way up to the 250 books, anybody that makes a decision to actually come and be in that room, I'm going to take Brandon, what I call his $5 million talk, and I'm going to break it down exactly the great things that he did in that talk. And I'm going to make sure that every single so that you as a business owner know how to communicate to land lots of business yourself. I'm going to break that talk down, and I'm going to give it to anybody that takes the option of any of the options. But man, if you're like committed, like really committed, pick one of them. But man, I'm letting you know the 100 or the 250 book mark is the place to be. Last thing I'll say as Brandon comes back up is last year, I asked Brandon and Grant if we could host something at their office, at our offices in Miami. And we invited 250 really big thinking business owners. And we only had room for 100. And the 100 spots filled like that. And most of the people were coming because they knew Grant Cardone. The majority of the people that I invited didn't know Brandon Dawson. And they were blown away at the wisdom that Grant gave. But I remember when they got introduced to Brandon Dawson that day, their minds exploded. Because for the first time, they were also listening to someone who really understood business and didn't just understand sales copy. Many of them went on to say, like, Brandon, like, well, like, can I buy into my company? Like, can we be partners? Like, I need you. Like, how do I hire you? Like, oh my gosh, because they were actually being introduced to somebody that really understood something. And that's the experience, I think, on like freaking exponential, like even so much bigger. This room, that's going to happen for anybody that's getting 25, 100, or 250. That same type of room is what's going to be happening in the boardroom, in the billionaire boardroom that's taking place with anybody that takes action. So Brandon, I'm honored to know you. I'm grateful for the wisdom and insight that you've given to me, man. And I think the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs make is listening to the wrong people who have not been to a place where they want to go, or speak a really good game because they understand some sales copy. But man, you're the real deal. This book is the real deal. And I can't wait to be in the room with you in October, man. It's going to be fire. And I hope everybody listening today is going to be in that room with us.
No, you know how I feel about you. And I love our community. You know, I love building with you, working with you, and watching the precision in which you break down how people communicate and how to get a stated result. What you do for people in their communication pattern is what I talk about with the long-term planning of intentionality, basically intentionality, taking the right kind of action and getting the right results. And if you learn to communicate, because communication is not what you say, it's what people think they heard. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm sure there's people watching this going, why aren't we charging for this? Why are we selling books? Well, I don't make any money on these books. It goes to Amazon, or it goes to whoever publisher. Like, but I'm going to fund bringing all these people together and doing this event and bringing in my partners and the experts. If there's 10 people there, 10,000 people there, I'm going to pay for it. And the reason for that is it's a way for me to give back to people who hopefully something I say in that book can change their life forever. That's the intention behind why I wrote it. And I'm just so excited about this event, Pete. I'm excited to see you there. And I appreciate you throwing in all this extra stuff to make it even a better event for people. So look, you may be asking, what am I going to do with 25 books, 100 books, or 250 books? Go give them to your school. It doesn't matter. Go to your kid's school and give them to the school. Like this book is about how to wire your mind to create the life you want, from a guy who is a 2.4 GPA, voted least likely to succeed, who built something, lost it all, started it over, and has done it multiple times now, helping tens of thousands of other people do it. And if I can do it, I make you a promise. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm reading some of these comments. It's a sales pitch. I mean, first of all, remember what I said about my partner's book, Sell or Be Sold. Whoever's letting anything in their mind, who's being sold the opportunity to meet in person? If you're not interested in the book deals, you just want to buy one book, there's nothing wrong with that. I make so much content for YouTube and push it out on Instagram. We run events every single week, multiple events. You can pick an entry point, whatever works for you. And if you can't make this event, I'm sure that we'll make it available to you because we record everything we do. Look, our objective is to create value in your life, but it's called exchange. John Maxwell talks about exchange. And he says, you give a hand before you ask for somebody's hand. And my hand was 12 years of writing this book and 25 years of failures and overcoming them and grinding to get to where I'm at today. And my hand, as I'm reaching out to say, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, your hand needs to be something. So I'm going to turn it back over to Jeremy. Thank you, guys. I look forward to meeting all of you in person.
Guys, give it up for Brandon. Wow. We are... I'm a man of my word, and I know I promised you something at the very end of this, and I want to stay true to that. So for every one of you that stayed, we're actually going to give the complete audiobook absolutely free just for being here, for tuning in, for engaging, the comments. It was incredible to see how many people were here and just really enjoying it. So this audiobook is not out yet. It will be released, but this is not like a lead gen thing. We already have your information. Obviously, you opted in or we emailed you, right? This is just to put you on the list because we're not giving this out to anybody else who's not here. So go ahead and scan the QR code. Make sure if it's not up on the screen, pull it up already. I think it is. Yeah, I see it in there. And scan that. So I'll leave that up here for just a few minutes, or probably not a few minutes, but a few seconds. Because we want to appreciate you guys. We want to thank you guys for being here and staying committed and engaging. And obviously, we kept our word and wanted to give you that special gift. So you can take that down now. So for everybody else, we look forward to this boardroom is going to be so dang incredible and so amazing. Brandon and I have been probably talking about it nonstop for like the last 2.5, 3 weeks specifically because we've been anchoring in and committing all of these speakers. And I can tell you it's going to be one to remember. So if the boardroom's for you, go ahead and scan that QR code. Get your seat because I know that this is going to be a packed house. You guys heard a tiny bit of the lineup, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. But with the staff or with the panel and the speakers that we're bringing in, it's going to definitely sell out. But if it's not for you, just go ahead and get the book, 9figuremindset.com. Grab the book. It actually is releasing next week, so you guys will see that. And then obviously you guys got the audiobook too. So. We appreciate your time. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. But until next time, it's been great. It's time to 10X. We'll see you guys.
Feeling great, not a worry inside and I can't complain. Don't rain on my parade. Celebration over here, all the clouds go away. About time for us to shine. I don't know about y'all, but I need all of mine till then. Just unwind. Ain't nothing going on but a good old time. Say, hopped out the bed and turned my swag on. Looked in the mirror like, damn, you the one. Loving what I'm seeing, the glow. I'm beaming, alive while thriving, the feeling undefeated. Can't take now and living this swell. Anybody trying to interfere? Oh well. Ain't no stopping us now or never. Me and mine just fine, no matter the weather. So feeling good, feeling great. Not a worry inside and I can't complain. Don't rain on my parade. Celebration over here, all the clouds go away. About time for us to shine. I don't know about y'all, but I need all of mine till then. Just unwind. Ain't nothing going on but a good old time. I need to celebrate every time I wake up. You know the vibes, I ain't even gotta say much. I was down back then, but I stay up. Gotta live it up in the moment, could you blame us? I could fill a brick truck up with blessings. I could make your work ethic unimpressive. They try to tell me I'm celebrating excessive, but I can't help it, just let me be selfish. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I feel good, I feel good, I feel great, look. Dark clouds can't shade my day. I don't trip, they'll never see me lacking. Whoa, ain't nobody gonna kill my smile. I'm good, I'm great, I'm happy. Let's talk about it every day, feel like a payday. Ching ching, in every way I feel like the champ. Ding ding, never cared about whatever he say or she think. It's only Tuesday and I already got a 3-peat. I remember when nobody used to see me. Now look at me, mom, I'm on the TV. Everything popping now like it's 3D. How can I not celebrate when these blessings on me? I need to celebrate every time I wake up. You know the vibes, I ain't even gotta say much. I was down back then, but I stay up. Gotta live it up in the moment, could you blame us? I could fill a brick truck up with blessings. I could make your work ethic unimpressive. They try to tell me I'm celebrating excessive, but I can't help it, just let me be selfish. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I feel good, I feel good, I feel great. Way I'm feeling, I can run a 4-2. Still got gas in the prime, who knew? Doing better this year than I did in Deuce Deuce. Haters going out sad, who cares? Boo hoo, whoa, aura, on a ultralight beam. I put on my favorite sneakers, I'm too clean. Feel like a top 5 dream. Feel like I found a hundo in the jeans. Days like this, I can touch the sky. My life's been good, let me testify. All that negativity been nullified. I got blessings coming in a large supply. Say what? I need to celebrate every time I wake up. You know the vibes, I ain't even gotta say much. I was down back then, but I stay up. Gotta live it up in the moment, could you blame us? I could fill a brick truck up with blessings. I could make your work ethic unimpressive. They try to tell me I'm celebrating excessive, but I can't help it, just let me be selfish. I feel good, woo! I feel good, let's go. I